Holy shit. He said what?
Another big revelation was that
Meghan Markle was a semi-expensive yacht girl.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
she and Harry actually got married 3 days before the royal wedding.
Yeah, I loved it.
Great, now I feel like a fool for waking up at 5 a.m. to watch two married people get married.
It began like any other Tonight Show monologue. Bright lights, polished jokes, the easy charm of a man who has spent decades disarming audiences with a grin. But on this night something shifted. Jimmy Fallon stepped onto the stage with the same familiar swagger, yet there was an electricity under the surface. Almost like he knew he was about to cross a line no late-night host had dared to approach. The band faded out. Fallon adjusted his cue cards. And then, with a smirk that hinted at mischief and danger in equal measure, he dropped the first bombshell. "Did you know," he said, pausing for dramatic effect, "that Meghan Markle was, well, apparently a semi-premium yacht girl?" The audience didn't laugh. Not yet. They inhaled sharply, unsure whether this was setup or scandal. Fallon continued anyway, unbothered by the tension climbing the walls. "Why are we still here?" he muttered, mimicking the online meme. "Just to suffer?" The room erupted, not because the joke landed, but because no one expected him to say it. No warning. No script. Just a comedian slicing into one of Hollywood's most carefully curated images. Then he pivoted, barely giving the crowd time to recover. "Oh, and do you know she and Harry got married 3 days before the royal wedding?" He feigned shock. "Fantastic. So I woke up at 5 in the morning to watch two people marry each other, again." Laughter flooded the studio, but underneath it was something colder. Something surgical. Fallon wasn't just teasing a celebrity. He was peeling back layers, brand, myth, performance, whatever armor Meghan had built around herself. And the audience felt it. This wasn't comedy anymore. It was demolition. The tension in the studio transformed into anticipation as Fallon shifted gears. He held up a bag of pretzels, one brand new and unopened. "Let me get this straight," he said, widening his eyes in exaggerated confusion. "She takes pretzels from one bag, puts them in another bag. And that's the lifestyle tip?" It sounded ridiculous, but the audience recognized it instantly. The clip from Meghan's Netflix cooking segment. A pristine kitchen, soft golden lights, a smile rehearsed so perfectly that it barely looked human. She gently poured store-bought pretzels from their original packaging into a fresh, aesthetically pleasing plastic bag. Then labeled it. As if the world had been begging for this revelation. Fallon reenacted the entire process with almost violent precision. "This one," he said, shaking the original bag. "We're throwing it out." He grabbed a new bag. "This one? This is the new bag." "Why?" "Because look, it's cuter." The audience howled. But a deeper crack appeared beneath the laughter. An uneasy awareness that Fallon was touching a nerve many had felt but never articulated. He wasn't mocking the pretzels. He was mocking the performance. The illusion of authenticity that Meghan had been selling like a luxury product. For a fraction of a second, Fallon dropped the act and stared into the camera with genuine confusion. "Wait, why are we doing this?" The crowd broke. It wasn't just laughter. It was release. Relief. As if they'd been waiting for someone, anyone, to point out the absurdity that had floated around Meghan's public persona for years. And Fallon had done it. On live TV. Without permission. Without fear. Within minutes of airing, the clip went nuclear online. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. Tweets, memes, reaction videos. Fallon wasn't just hosting a show. He had ignited a cultural lightning storm. One viral post summed it up perfectly. He didn't roast her. He diagnosed her. And that was the essence of it. Fallon wasn't swinging wildly. He was sharpening a scalpel. Every line he delivered cut deeper into the crafted image of Meghan. The serene Duchess, the spiritual guru, the lifestyle whisperer. The woman who presented herself as the patron saint of authenticity, while living in a $14 million mansion with a team of stylists, publicists, and brand strategists. The pretzel moment became a symbol, a metaphor, a punchline that revealed something uncomfortable. Maybe the world wasn't buying the act anymore. When Fallon mimicked Meghan lecturing viewers on how nature gives you cues on how to enjoy the perfect bite of pineapple, The audience lost it. He paused again, eyebrows raised, daring the world to explain the logic. It was comedic timing at its finest. But the truth buried inside the humor was what made it unforgettable. Meghan's lifestyle segments weren't accidental. They were strategic, constructed, manufactured authenticity, an art form she had mastered so thoroughly that she didn't notice when people stopped connecting with it. And Fallon simply held a mirror to it. Late-night hosts poke fun at celebrities all the time. But what Fallon did felt different. There was a strange sadness beneath the laughter, as if he himself couldn't believe how disconnected the whole thing felt. When he joked about Meghan's spotless white outfit during a berry-picking clip. Who picks berries in a cashmere blouse? Are you harvesting fruit or shooting a perfume commercial? The reaction in the studio shifted. Laughter mixed with winces. It was sharper, more intimate, more cutting. Fallon had stumbled onto the very thing that critics, viewers, and even some fans had whispered about for years. Meghan Markle's brand wasn't about being relatable. It was about looking relatable. And in that gap between the persona and the truth, Fallon found a goldmine. After Fallon's bit aired, the internet split open like a fault line. Memes flooded TikTok. Duchess of Pretzels. Royal snack repacker. First woman in history to domesticate store-bought food. But beneath those jokes was a collective exhaustion. An unspoken fatigue that Fallon voiced with a single raised eyebrow. People weren't angry. They were tired. Tired of the documentaries. Tired of the confessions. Tired of the speeches, the interviews, the self-branding dressed as vulnerability. Fallon didn't just joke about pretzels. He punctured the balloon of overproduced relatability. As Fallon leaned back in his chair, pretending to sip imaginary herbal tea, the audience shrieked with laughter. Yet the intensity of the moment didn't fade. If anything, it deepened. Suddenly, this wasn't just a joke about Meghan. It was a mirror held up to celebrity culture itself. Meghan wasn't being singled out because she was unique. She was being singled out because she was symbolic. A symbol of an entertainment industry that keeps selling realness, like a luxury product. A symbol of a generation obsessed with branding itself into something flawless. A symbol of curated imperfection that always seemed too polished to be real. Fallon's roast captured something more universal. The world is exhausted by performative authenticity. And Meghan Markle, through pretzel bags and pineapple tutorials, had become the ultimate representation of that disconnect. By the time Fallon's monologue hit the 24-hour mark online, the narrative had shifted dramatically. Commentators called it historic, savage, unexpectedly truthful. It wasn't just trending. It was reshaping how people viewed Meghan's carefully built brand. For years, the public had oscillated between admiration and skepticism. But Fallon's bit clarified something. People weren't mocking Meghan's lifestyle tips. They were mocking the performance of relatability that no longer resonated. One fan wrote, "This wasn't comedy. This was the collective eye roll of an entire generation." Fallon hadn't attacked her. He'd simply said the quiet part out loud. And that was the moment everything changed. Then came the moment, the line that instantly silenced the audience. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was whispered. Fallon leaned forward, lowered his voice, and said, "So, she's repackaging pretzels now? Is this the soft launch for a new virtue project? Or is she just running out of things to pretend to care about?" A hush fell across the studio. Not laughter, silence. Everyone felt the shift. The monologue wasn't funny anymore. It was uncomfortable, revealing, electric. Fallon hadn't just roasted a duchess. He had exposed the machinery behind her. The branding. The reinvention. The relentless quest to control the narrative. And the audience understood. Something had cracked. The silence that settled over Jimmy Fallon's studio wasn't ordinary. It wasn't the kind of quiet that follows a joke that falls flat. It was heavier, thick with realization, almost ominous. Something had shifted. The room felt less like a talk show audience and more like a courtroom, and Fallon had become the reluctant witness testifying to a truth no one else wanted to touch. As the camera zoomed in on his face, Fallon didn't crack a smile this time. He didn't break character. Instead, he looked down at his cue card, shook his head slowly, and said, "You know what? It's getting hard to tell the difference between a cooking tutorial and a brand strategy meeting." The crowd didn't laugh. They exhaled. Quietly. Uncomfortably. Because they recognized it. Meghan Markle wasn't just acting polished. She was performing a version of authenticity so choreographed it no longer felt human. And for the first time, late-night television wasn't laughing at the absurdity. It was standing face-to-face with it. Fallon had crossed an invisible line. A line Hollywood pretends doesn't exist. A line where comedy turns into commentary, and commentary turns into revelation. He had stepped right into the heart of the Meghan Markle myth, and cracked it open. The clip didn't just go viral. It detonated. Within hours, every major talk show host, podcast, and YouTube commentator weighed in. But the reaction wasn't the usual Hollywood defense routine. There was no protective wall of PR agents tweeting "be kind." No celebrities stepping in to shield her. Instead, the industry reacted like sharks who'd smelled blood in the water. Ryan Reynolds, always the first to turn chaos into comedy, tweeted a faux recipe. Step 1: buy pretzels. Step 2: empty pretzels into another bag. Step 3: sell for $40. The engagement exploded. Then Conan O'Brien joined the avalanche. "Well," he joked on his podcast, "I guess Netflix will greenlight anything, even transferring snacks." Trevor Noah added fuel to the fire. Meghan's pretzel hack is the first time someone made carbs royal. It wasn't a one-off roast anymore. It was open season. Meghan Markle, the woman who once commanded headlines, who once shaped narratives, had become the punchline of Hollywood's latest inside joke. And this time she couldn't control it. As the mockery spread, something unexpected happened. People stopped laughing at the jokes and started laughing at the symbolism. Meghan's carefully crafted public persona, once admired, now felt fragile, almost brittle. Every clip, every meme, every commentary hinted at the same unspoken question. Is this who she really is? Or is this who she wants the world to believe she is? Fallon had tapped into a deeper cultural shift. The public was exhausted by curated perfection. Every brand message from Meghan, about mindfulness, authenticity, empowerment, had been polished, scripted, and packaged for maximum aesthetic appeal. But beneath the soft lighting and neutral tones was a disconnect that had been widening for years. People no longer saw a duchess. They saw an influencer with a castle. Fallon's bit wasn't just a roast. It was a reminder that the world had grown tired of being marketed to, disguised as being inspired. And Meghan's brand, once aspirational, now felt overproduced. Too clean. Too perfect. Too artificial. Fallon didn't create that sentiment. He revealed it. Fallon wasn't done. After the pretzel bit, after the pineapple demonstration, after the mock cooking segment reenactment, he leaned back in his chair, took a breath, and set his sights on Meghan's husband, Prince Harry. In one sentence, Fallon shifted the entire energy of the room. Imagine fighting in Afghanistan, only to end up filming your wife's jam commercials. The laughter that followed didn't sound like comedy. It sounded like disbelief laced with pity. Harry, once the rebellious royal hero, had become a supporting character in Meghan's lifestyle empire. A backdrop. A man who went from serving on the front lines to holding jars of artisanal jam on camera. Fallon's joke wasn't about Harry's military career. It was about what he had become. A man out of place. A prince without a kingdom. A soldier without a mission. The audience laughed, but uncomfortably. They weren't mocking him, they were mourning him. Fallon's next line went deeper. "Blink twice," he whispered. "If you're being held hostage at the farmer's market." The room cackled. But the truth beneath the humor stung. Harry didn't look like a partner in Meghan's brand. He looked like a prop. And people noticed. As Fallon moved on to other jokes, viewers replayed the segment over and over, analyzing the tone, the expressions, the underlying messages. Twitter threads turned into essays. YouTube reaction channels broke the clip down frame by frame. Not because Fallon was funny, but because Fallon had said what everyone else tiptoed around. He wasn't attacking Meghan. He was diagnosing a phenomenon. The Meghan Markle brand was cracking under the weight of its own performance. For years she had constructed an image of grace, purity, struggle, and resilience. She spoke of trauma, healing, awakening, purpose. Every moment was content. Every content piece was a message. Every message was a stepping stone to the next version of herself. But at some point the polishing had gone too far. The authenticity had evaporated. The vulnerability felt staged. The relatability felt rehearsed. Fallon simply held the mirror. And the world finally saw the reflection clearly. Meghan and Harry's era of global fascination had lasted years. Every interview, every documentary, every reveal dominated the news cycle. But as Fallon's roast went viral, the comments told a different story. People weren't angry. They were tired. Tired of the victim narratives. Tired of the documentaries. Tired of the YouTube confessions. Tired of being told one story in public and seeing another unfold online. One viewer wrote, "We get it. You left the palace. What else do you want to talk about?" Another said, "There's no privacy issue. There's a publicity addiction." Fallon didn't create this fatigue. He exposed it. His monologue became the point where the public mood snapped from curiosity to exhaustion, and Hollywood followed. After the monologue went viral, the world held its breath waiting for Meghan's response. Would she clap back subtly? Would her publicist release a carefully crafted message about staying positive? Would Harry appear in another documentary expressing hurt? But Meghan did nothing. No comment. No defense. No clarification. Just silence. For a moment the silence felt strategic. But then unexpectedly, she re-emerged. Not with vulnerability or introspection, but with a glossy photo shoot promoting her upcoming wellness brand. Serene poses, perfect lighting, inspirational messaging, soft earth tones, a calm, controlled expression. The timing couldn't have been worse. Instead of diffusing the fallout, the photo shoot intensified it. To critics it felt tone-deaf. To supporters it felt desperate. To everyone else it confirmed something deeper. Meghan wasn't stepping back. She was doubling down. Every joke, every meme, every sarcastic headline became free publicity for the next reinvention. She wasn't retreating. She was rebranding. Again. In the last moments of the segment, as the laughter faded and Fallon shuffled his cue cards, he looked up at the camera one more time. He leaned forward. His voice dropped. The room fell silent. Is Meghan Markle really misunderstood? Or have we just finally understood her? It was the quietest line of the night, but it hit the hardest. Fallon wasn't mocking anymore. He was challenging. Challenging the narrative. Challenging the myth. Challenging the very idea of how celebrities can weaponize vulnerability for influence.